Hello, this is FLORIS HOOLHORST, sketch card artist for Premiere 2019, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Hello everybody, my name is Ian Taylor, and welcome to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. You're laughing, sir.
Why'd you do that
I can
face?
see you laughing.
Why would you do that face?
We're going to keep this in.
Okay.
Oh, dear me.
Go.
Brought to you by the Marvel Cards Fan Collective, an awesome community of card collectors and creators. You can find our two groups on Facebook, details of which are at the end of this podcast, so come and join us. With me this week is my co-pilot in all things Marvel cards. He's the E to my packs. It's Norrin Rad.
You did it. That was
I
off
did
the
it.
cusp.
That was
Everybody,
off the
I want you to know he had nothing. He pulled that out. Master improv, Ian.
I was blocked, I believe is
That
the
was really
professional
good.
term in the theatrical world. I
That's
was blocked. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing?
I'm all right. We've had a couple of weeks in a galaxy far, far away,
Yes, for sure.
and now we're back on terra firma. So welcome everybody. That crossover episode was an absolute blast.
That was so much fun. Oh man, I had so much fun.
It
Greg was
so much fun.
awesome. It
I
was
could have carried on.
I'm so mad at Greg though because I'm obsessed with the Mandalorian. 100%.
Okay, yeah.
I'm obsessed. I've
We're not
always
going
loved
to talk
Boba
about that.
Fett. I'm so
Spoilers,
just
we're not
real
gonna talk
quickly.
about it.
I'm a
Yeah.
huge fan. He's got me into collecting the cards, which is killing me now. But I really like what Topps is doing in terms of like, oh man, you have a whole box.
I know. Sorry, Greg. It's all your fault. As if I haven't
It is
got enough
Greg's
to do with Marvel cards. I've started. So we're not going. The reason I said we're not going to talk about Mandalorian, we can talk about Mandalorian
We're not.
cards. We just
Right,
can't
right.
talk about the
We're not.
episodes because
No, we have all those
it's-
things to talk about.
it's not that. It's just that it's not been released outside of the US officially
Oh
because
no!
Disney Plus doesn't launch in the UK until the end of March.
Oh, let's stay quiet. Got
So
it.
yeah.
There.
So you're 2 episodes in, I think.
Yes.
So you've got Disney Plus.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Sorry.
Gorgeous. Tell me something, because the interesting thing for me is the user experience and how it feels and how you work it. Does it make an interesting sound or noise when you open it up, or is there a little logo or a little thing? You know, like Netflix has that,
Yeah.
but
So
has
there's
that
a
noise.
logo.
And yeah.
There is a logo. I don't think there's a noise, at least one I haven't noticed or one that hasn't included me in. But the Disney comes up and you have the plus sign and the beautiful graphic comes up. But I don't know if I've heard a kind of nice sound that associates with that, kind of like when a Mac or Windows comes up or Netflix,
Yeah.
for instance.
Yeah.
But either I haven't noticed the sound or it hasn't made me notice it.
Interesting.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
No, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, so it's all Greg's fault basically, because
It is.
I've become addicted to the very quickly become addicted to the old, what they describe as the heritage stock. So you know that kind of blue
I love that stock.
Garfield, and on the back, and it looks
Yellow and the red.
but it looks old. It looks slightly faded, like
From
a
the paper
printed
they're using, it
card.
looks
Yeah,
freaking beautiful.
they're doing it as if the card is quite an old card.
I love that.
So it's designed. It doesn't pick up on my camera, unfortunately, because there's not enough light in here. But yeah, it's and it's really nice.
I
But
dig
I've
it.
been buying the UK ones. Release of Journey to the Rise of Skywalker, which is, as I said on the episode, is possibly the longest title of any card set ever. Journey to the brother of, the sister of, the Rise of Skywalker, down the road, in the corner. Nobody put Skywalker in the corner. Anyway, Greg, thank you. that went places.
I like it.
Greg, thank you. That was an absolute blast. I think people dug it. Everyone's been kind of quiet the past week, but I think we had a couple of people say that it was pretty cool. I think Kevin won. Good.
Yeah.
I always know that we're doing something right if Kevin one's happy.
Yep. I know.
So,
Our main audience is very happy.
yeah.
and very
So we've got
excited.
our audience of 1 or 2. We've got at least 2 Kevins in the audience, so we
Yes.
know that. So that's good. It's yeah, it was just interesting for me just to hear that, you know, how similar things
fascinating.
are, but the way the 2 car companies do things differently as
Yeah.
well.
100%. Well, I really like what Topps does, where they're releasing like the 5 card sets for every episode. So if you go to the Topps website, like for Mandalorian, you'll see the cards being released in sets of 5, and
I thought it was 3 cards. Is it
no, there's
5?
actual card. Oh, 3? No, I think it's 5.
Oh, okay. Because I know you've ordered them and you've got the first episode.
Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
trailer. I got the trailer because I haven't done the first episode or the second episode.
Oh, so you got the trailer set of cards
with the poster.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So
and you've still got my Rise of Skywalker trailer 2 cards, haven't you?
Yep.
Good. Just checking because I had the mother of all boxes in the mail from Norrin this week, folks, as if you're on the group you'd have seen, and I'm still sorting through it. It's beautiful. It's like Christmas.
Everything looks good, right? Everything got there okay?
Oh, everything's awesome, mate. Thank you so much.
Of course. No. I just want to make sure.
And it's all cool. And there is literally stuff that I forgot that I'd purchased. This Flair Ultra Spider-Man.
I love
those
so much.
They are so nice.
Archive cards.
Yeah, they're really nice. And they're really, I mean, look at this. This is a Black Cat one. But I've actually already got one of these from my Black Cat set with a nicer panel. So this will go in my Flair Ultra Spider-Man binder. But there's no light on this at all. Sorry, let me move this.
It's okay.
I haven't got any light in here. I tell you what, let me put let me illuminate with my phone.
Actually works just fine.
Yeah. So on the back,
that looks so good.
See what I mean? You've got the issue the issue that it comes from.
The beautiful.
And if you look at the frame, the spider frame around the
nut, it's the symbol.
Yeah, and it's
I love
thick.
That. I think that's a good one. See, I like those cards so much. I mean, honestly, if I had endless funds, I would have a full collection of archival comic art cut cards for sure. That would definitely be up my alley.
You and me both. So that's going to be a long game. Anyway, so thank you for that. Before we dive into what we're going to talk about this week, huge thanks to FLORIS HOOLHORST, who did our opening intro. I love the accent for a start.
It's amazing.
Bringing some major European on your ass. FLORIS is from the Netherlands, and he is a comic book and sketch card artist. I'm looking at his Instagram feed at the moment. At the top, it says working for Upper Deck on new Marvel project, and I always love the mystery of that. But so I've been kind of following FLORIS for a good while now on Instagram. When I set up the Marvel Masterpieces Collectors Instagram feed, he was one of the first artists I followed.
Right.
And I just keep coming back to his Instagram feed because he puts a lot of time and effort into it, and it is just wonderful. He just frames the images of his cards really well. So he kind of has. Some of them are work in progress ones with multiple sort of pictures in there. Some of them are just the finished pieces, but you can see them in a setting. So, for example, the ones at the top of his Instagram at the moment have got like all the pens and markers they used to do the art sort of around each picture.
Yeah.
They're just really nice. So the most recent ones he's been sharing are his Marvel Premiere 2019 works. But there's some commission stuff in here as well. It's a really nice. I love his colours. I really like his use of colours. They're all really bright and vibrant.
I like that you see the markers in there. I like that you see the space. I like his composition.
Yeah.
And that Rhino and Miles Morales one, I really love the composition of that, and I love the action sequence on his dual panels. They're sick.
You go. So if you look at the dual, so on the Premiere ones, of course, there's more than one photo because it's front and back.
Yeah.
So if you look at the dual panel ones, and that Green Goblin is just superb.
Such a good throwback, Green Goblin.
It looks like it could have come straight from one of the 60s books.
Mm-hmm.
Real sort of kind of on the Ross Andrew spectrum.
See, that's what I appreciate about certain sketch card artists, like the time and consideration it takes. You can really see the influence, and you can see their own take.
Yeah,
those are some of the best ones for me. The ones that are able to kind of like manage the personality of the character, but also put their own, stuff in it.
Look at this. He's done a post where he's said commissions are available. He's just taken a lot of time to make the post and do some pictures. It's just
100%
really, really good. And as we learned from Greg last week. If you put the time and effort into Instagram, it can be a really effective channel.
100%, yeah.
And really nice and rewarding for the audience.
Yeah.
Like this one, you can see this is a kind of a black and white, and then if you go over there, you can see the pencils.
Yep.
It's just nice.
It really is.
That's a DC one, but he did that a lot for his Marvel Premiere ones. There's so much content on here. I'm still scrolling, and I haven't gotten to the Marvel Masterpieces ones yet. These are just beautiful cards. Look at that Storm.
I love it.
It's nice. There we go. That's Flair. 19 Flair. I tell you what I need to do. I need to reach out to. Floris. I need to find out if you've got a Flair AP available, because I kind of need a black cat. Look at that. So you got the inks there.
See, but that's the way to do it.
Then you got the finished piece, and then there it is, just in his studio kind of thing.
Yeah, matching the aesthetic of the Instagram page.
And that's probably sat in a pack. I mean, this is July 24th, so I know this will be a second wave sketch.
Yeah,
because it was already out by then physically, Flair. So Floris, thank you, sir. Floris did send me a little bio about himself, which is great. He kind of told me is almost his life story here. I'm 43, a father living in the Netherlands with my girlfriend and 3 kids. 3 kids, and you've got the time to do all that Instagram as well.
What a beast!
Wow, yeah. I have a day job as a hearing aid specialist. I find that really interesting. That because we know a lot of the artists aren't full time necessarily.
Yeah.
Because it's doesn't always pay a massive deal unless you've got a bit of comic book work coming in or other irons in the fire. So I always find it interesting what other jobs people do.
Lines of revenue, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So he's been working the last 2 years as a sketch card artist for Upper Deck. Started on Thor Ragnarok.
Wow.
And then Marvel Annual 2017, Masterpieces 2018, Flair 2019, and Premiere 2019. And I just finished another not to be named set. I was drawing my whole life, but after a long break, I started drawing daily for the last 6 years. Trying to break into the comic industry, I was happily surprised when Upper Deck contacted me 2.5 years ago. So he says it's still basically a hobby, but I keep at it, and who knows where it will bring me. Quite frankly, Floris, if I had the position to do so, I'd sign you up right now.
Seriously.
That's phenomenal. That's exceptionally clean work that you've been putting out there. So
100%.
Yeah, thank you for that, Floris. So for those of you who want to know where to go to see Floris's awesome work, he's on Instagram, Floris, FLORIS _HOOLHORST, which is HOOLHORST _art. And at the top there, I'm not going to read it out again because your name will take half the podcast reading out and having to spell your name. But there's a Patreon at the top, so please go and have a look at his Patreon. There's a link at the top of his Instagram. Go and check that out, and yeah, just get some good stuff. I'm really, 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 really happy that Floris was managed to come and join us and be part of this crazy thing, and hopefully we'll get him on as a guest at some stage. And
I'm so glad he's here, and I'm so glad to see his work on the group and to just follow his Instagram and to keep seeing what he's doing, because it just looks so good.
Yeah. So and he's in Europe. The interesting thing about the artists, and this is why I keep saying that it's a global hobby. It can't be just limited to continental US, because where we've had artists here from Japan, we've had artists from Israel, we've had artists from the UK. There's one from Wales that we've just kind of come into contact with who worked on some 90s sets that I'm going to reach out to and see if he wants to come on. We've got guys from Brazil, we've got guys from all over Canada. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. I think it's really nice. I think it's a global network now, and I feel like we're all kind of like, it's so cool to make those connections. How else do you do that? It just doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. You had something to tell me. You had something to tell me that you want to do that now.
Are you prepared?
Well, I am sat down.
Okay. All right. So, wait a minute. You know what?
I say,
So I say we park it and talk about ePacks first.
Okay. All right.
Because this is biggie. So
All right.
will you save this for the end of the episode?
We'll save this for the
kind
end.
Of a big deal.
Because it might render me speechless.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too caught up on it. So I want to make sure, because Flair did just come out.
Yeah.
And ePack is a pumping, as
ePack
it once was before.
Pumping and then some. So I kind of figured I'd do a little rewind this week because there have been some interesting questions from people on the Facebook groups.
Yes.
But it's like, well, yes, Flair has just been released on ePacks, but quite simply, someone asked, a guy called Todd Armstrong, in MCCW. Good evening, Sob. Can someone explain to me how ePacks works? And I kind of figured ePacks 101. Let's do it. Because if you're new to the hobby, ePacks is, even if you're long in the teeth in the hobby, ePacks is a daunting and, until you get the measure of it, quite a complicated system to work your way around. Once you know where everything is, it's fine. I guess it's like driving a car in that regard. Not that I can drive a car. Anyway, so I guess the first thing to say about ePacks is proprietary to Upper Deck Entertainment. And Upper Deck Entertainment are the current Marvel trading cards license holder for the US, Canada, and a number of other territories, but not Europe. And Upper Deck make and have made trading cards for over 30 years now. Started out in hockey, and I believe it was hockey. No, it was baseball. The first card was a baseball one.
Probably.
Because I've been reading up on this. Because I didn't realise that the guy who set up and was president of Upper Deck passed away a few years ago. I was doing a little bit of research.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh. So, because if you look at the back of the cards now, where you get a pull, it says, it's quite interesting. So I'm just looking at this Flair Ultra Spider-Man panel card that we talked about earlier on. And it says on the back, congratulations, you have received a comic book panel art card. And it just talks about it. And it says something similar whenever you get any of the bigger pulls. So it says when you get a sketch, it says something similar. And if you read it, it used to say Richard P. McWilliam. Now it says the Richard P. McWilliam family.
Oh.
And I thought that was interesting, and I hadn't spotted it. And it was actually a number of years ago that he passed. Probably I was reading up on it. Anyway, that's kind of a segue, but I thought that was interesting.
That's a really cool Easter egg, though. I had no idea that.
It is quite interesting.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. So ePacks has been around for, I'm going to say 4 years. It may have been less, I don't know, but I'm going to say 4 years. And quite literally what ePacks does is it allows you to buy trading cards online, open them online, and have them stored online until such a time that you choose to have them extracted from that online system and either mailed to you or put on sale via ComC, which is a company called Check Out My Collection. Now, ComC and ePacks are both located in the US, those warehouses, and they are shared. So you, when you have something shipped to you, you can either have it shipped from the ePack system, or you can have it transferred to ComC and shipped to you, or you can have it transferred to ComC, and ComC will then list it for sale in their ecosystem. You can then also have that listing on ComC put on eBay if you want.
Yeah.
So ePacks. So when you go onto ePacks, it's there's a lot of stuff on sale there. There's hockey cards on sale. There's some football cards, but not NFL. I don't believe they have an NFL license. Right. There are some entertainment cards. So James Bond is on there now as a license. Mm-hmm. There has just literally been, about 3 weeks ago, a Disney Princesses set released.
Right, I saw that. It looks really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of avoiding it.
Sorry, it looks horrible. Look away, Ian.
At some stage, I might get it. It's the kind of thing I could quite happily pick up a base set of.
I think it looks cute.
It's a low price, and it looks fun, and they've got different things going on with it. So if a set is released in the stores, the way that it goes, and we referenced this on the crossover with Greg and the Rebel Base Card podcast, but it's actually quite an interesting comparison, is when movies were released in cinemas, or in theatres, as you say in the States, it always makes me laugh that you call theatres and you call cinemas theatres as well. But I think it's
I don't think
theatres.
anybody remembers the difference,
Anyway,
honestly.
yeah.
We forget things that happened like a week ago.
When
That's
when I was growing up in this is dating me. My mum, because my mum was born in the 30s, so when I was young enough to go to the cinema in the 70s, when I was like 5 or 6, my mum used to say, "Shall we go to the pictures?" The pictures.
Oh, the
Isn't that
pictures.
wonderful? Because that,
That's
because when
awesome.
she was born in the 30s, she's born in 35. She's passed
Yeah.
away now.
Oh,
God rest her soul. But she was of that generation. The pictures, isn't it
the
wonderful?
pictures. I love that
I
so
like
much.
that. Yeah, should we go to the pictures? Where was I?
It's
So
nice.
when a movie comes out in the cinema at the pictures, there was always a gap before it came out on home video,
Yes.
and that was anything from 3 to 6 months.
Yep.
There is still a gap between cinema and now it's DVD and Blu-ray release, and that's probably about 3 months now, I'd say. But there is still that gap.
Depending on the success of
Yeah.
the film, yeah.
Yeah. So, and sometimes films are made in such a way that they are almost instantaneously released on a streaming platform. A good
Right.
example is the Scorsese movie, The Irishman,
Mm-hmm.
that just
Yep.
came out. So I think it had a 4-week cinema window where it was exclusively in cinemas, and then it became available on Netflix. I mean, it's 3.5 hours long for a start. But I think they had to do that. They would have had to have done that cinema release for it to be up for Oscar contention.
Probably.
And various
Usually they
awards.
try to overlap a season so they can be up for Oscars because of distribution and
Yeah.
the campaigning that it takes to
Yeah.
get these films into that kind of categories.
And I
stuff.
think Netflix stumped up a fair load of cash to get it made. Anyway,
Right,
back to
yeah,
ePacks, because there's a lot to get through here, and I keep getting distracted with my own trains of thought. So ePacks is if a product is released in stores. Marvel Masterpieces 2018 is a prime example. So that was released in stores in America that could carry it, because Upper Deck are quite. My understanding is that they're quite particular about the stores that carry it. You have to be
because you have
in a certain way with
you
them.
have to be licensed, right, with them for Upper Deck. So these stores would have to be licensed, and then they would have to brick and mortar, and then they'd have to actually put it in order. And a lot of the stores where you'll find Marvel cards, at least from my experience, are always sports stores where they have jerseys, autographs, memorabilia, things of that nature. And very rarely will they buy into the Marvel cards because it is such a small community and the premium sets are higher priced.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few tend to. And so they will have the physical product. And they will have the physical product probably roughly for any time until it sells out.
Yeah.
But would you say the overlap is it goes to a brick and mortar store first? Everyone goes to pick that up. I say it's there for maybe 3-4 months.
About that.
And then you have another 2-3 months, depending, for when it releases on ePack.
I don't know if it gets withdrawn from the stores. I think there's anywhere between 3 and 6 months is the window between it being released physically and then it becoming available on ePacks.
I think that's about right.
Yeah. So the reason I use Marvel Masterpieces 2018 as my first example is because that was a long window. That was about 6 months.
Yeah.
Between physical and ePacks release. When it was released on ePacks, it sold out in 11 days. So that's
11 days.
11 days. That's the fastest. We recently had Flair Ultra X-Men, which was 2017.
Yep.
No, 2018. There we go. Flair Ultra Spider-Man was 2017.
Right.
Flair Ultra X-Men 2018 sold out about 2 months ago on ePack, so it lasted well over a year.
It did. It did.
And it was being purchased a lot, so there must have been a vast amount of cards made for that set.
I think there was really cool things we saw on the site with how these things are selling out, especially with the Flair Ultra Spider-Man and I believe X-Men as well, is that you could tell when the supply was getting low because people were pulling all the things that were kind of left over at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But the Marvel Masterpiece, that sold out in 11 days primarily because of the success of the 2016 Marvel Masterpieces.
That's right.
It did extremely well, selling for high price points. Everyone became very much a fan of Marvel and brought back quite a big audience from the 90s. And then 2018 kind of kept that audience sustained.
That's right.
And now everyone's waiting for 2021 or 2020 or whatever the case may be.
Whenever
it will be.
To be honest with you, at the moment, as long as it can be from now is good for me because I'm still paying for the last.
I like to build up some funds. But just so people know what the ePack, since this is an ePack 101, right?
Yep.
Go to the website. It's upperdeckepack.com. Okay.
I'm glad someone said it.
Yeah, just so we have it, just so you guys know, in case you want to follow through and kind of maybe tour the website as we talk about it briefly, just to give you a brief overview, an idea of where to go.
So I've just gone to the ePack site, and there's a wonderful banner on the homepage.
For
2019
Flair.
Marvel Flair cards that I've not seen before.
It's beautiful.
It's really nice. I'm going to save that, actually. That picture.
It's really cool. And they show some great inserts. Really cool stuff. So we're on ePack's site. Make an account. You make an account, you log in, and there you go.
I think the first thing to say about making an account in ePacks is that the address has to be within the US or Canada.
Yes.
And that's partly because of the Marvel licensing.
Yep.
In fact, I think a lot of it is about the Marvel licensing. It may also be about some of the sports stuff, but you can't. I'm in the UK. I can't register with a UK account, so I have 2 different US accounts registered on ePacks. So there you go. You've got your account.
You're on the site. There you go. Now, a couple of things to note. Really, what you want to start messing with is you want to go to My Collection. Before you buy anything, you kind of want to go to My Collection, which is on the top banner of the site on the left-hand side. When you click My Collection, you're going to see basically all the cards that you will be getting. I think a really good thing to note and to talk about now would be what's a physical card and what's a digital card, and what's the difference.
Well, I'm gonna go back a step. In the on ePack, when you sign up, they do hold your hand a little bit. You can obviously buy something and go to the store, but there's something on ePack called a daily free ePack. So on your first moments on the site, you can have 1 card in your collection. So what you do is you go to the store, and when you go into the store, there's some products at the top that they're pushing at the moment, but then it goes into category. But one of the topmost things you will see that it doesn't appear on mine as we're scrolling through it because I've already opened it for today will be daily free ePack, and you will be able to then click on that and select one of about 6 products, either sports or Overwatch League, whatever that is. I don't actually know what Overwatch League is. I think it's a video game.
I think it's the video game, yeah.
I think it's a video game. I've no idea. And you can open one of those, and literally it's a good thing to walk through because you get the experience of how it feels to open any product on the site. So when you open it, and I haven't got it on my screen, so I can't walk through it, but from memory, you click on the product, open, and then instead of going through the purchase flow, you're straight in to open my packs, which is one of the sections you can go to on the site. So on the top banner, you've got my store, obviously because they want to buy stuff, my collection, trading, my packs. And when you go in there, if you've got any packs to open, it will show there. If you haven't, it will say go to store, because again, they want you to buy stuff. When you open that daily free e-card, you go into it, and that is a digital card. And you can look at it. It displays on the screen, and there's a little icon to the bottom right that's got an arrow, and you click on that, and you can turn it over and see the back of that card. Now, it might sound strange to some people to say, well, why does it have a back? It's a digital card. It doesn't exist. This is where we go into the whole territory over digital cards versus physical cards, because the majority of cards on ePacks, unlike the Topps card trader app, where they're all digital, the majority of cards on ePacks are actually physical, because ePacks is simply a different distribution and sales platform for Upper Deck. And some of the cards are digital, but they're done in a way that makes you buy more product, because all of the digital cards on ePacks, whether it's a daily free ePack or whether it's a product that you buy, and some of the cards are digital and some of them are physical, all of them can be combined with other cards the same. So that same, say you got Doctor Strange #1 and it was an ePack digital card. If you acquired a certain number of that exact same card, you
Right.
can then combine that and then get a physical version of that card, which can then be mailed to you.
Yep.
So the digital cards are just a stepping stone to acquiring a physical card, but they are the minority, I would say, of the product on there, although they are an important part of how Upper Deck monetize the experience.
Yeah. And if you do get these free cards and you're wondering yourself, well, how do I figure out how many to combine? Where is that key piece of information? There's two ways of finding it. One, when you're clicking on the card, you click on the card. Above the card, under the name of the card and where it's from, you'll see a button, which is grayed out, that says combine.
Mm-hmm.
And it will show you how many you have and how many you need in order to combine to get the physical card.
Yeah.
The other way of doing it is, again, going to, I believe, the store.
That's right.
And then you are going to, for instance, right now, 2019 Marvel Flair is the featured product at the top of the site under store. You will see an eye icon. You will see a dice icon. You will see a multiple bar icon and an ePack icon exclusive. Now, let me explain the three. The first one is the info. This is the kind of stuff you read on the side of the box or on the pack, right? How many cards are in the set? What are the odds? Who are the artists? The inserts, and hope you enjoy your collection today. The dice is really talking specifically about the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 kind of phenomenon that's currently in the Marvel card ether. This is currently how rarity is being assessed, and this is kind of leaning towards what Upper Deck will be doing for the future. It looks like. I don't think
it's got the odds as well,
and it has the odds. Yeah, so
which
I don't think it's
normally
going
see
away.
on a physical pack. Yeah,
which you would normally see on a physical pack. The next thing is the really interesting part, which is your checklist. Now, when you go to your checklist, there's a really cool feature here where you can see, like the checklist back in the day that we're all used to, that we'd see on the back of a card, where you can lower these tabs and see all the inserts listed. All the cards that come in, all the names of the cards, and so forth. And you can even, when you have them in your collection, you'll see a check mark. Or you can look at view in my collection or view in the marketplace, which we'll get to in a second. So those are those three features. And then you have the ePack exclusive content. Now, this is the incentive to buy the product online, which is physical, in this case with Marvel Flair. This is the incentive to get an even more exclusive card that you will be able to get through the digital medium, and it would be a physical card, but you would never be able to achieve or get these achievement cards through buying physical boxes at a brick and mortar store.
That's right. Yep. So there we go. There's a lot to take in there. So I think the interesting thing is a lot of this stuff is what you'd normally see on the side of a box or on the back of the packet that you rip through. So if you look on the back, I'm just holding it, happens to be the top Star Wars packet, but I've also got one here from Marvel Beginnings. So it's kind of the information that you would always see on the back of the wrapper. Right. This pack contains an assortment of yada yada trading cards. Randomly inserted into these are autograph cards, 1 out of 48, sketch cards, 1 out of 48, hologram cards, 1 out of 72, etc., etc. But it's just that it has that information online. So I think it's probably kind of a legal thing that I have to put that on there as well.
Yeah, and I think it's good to have that information too. That's always nice. The other thing, just so you know, when you're in the store tab, you see featured packs on the front. If you scroll down, you're going to see genres.
Yeah,
and they just put up the first genre for Disney. So it's the first pack for Disney genre cards. So that's pretty crazy considering Star Wars is Disney and also Star Wars is being sold on the Topps website. So I'm interested in that. But you can see if you scroll down, there is a Marvel section. And you can see how many Marvel products they have under this pack section.
That doesn't mean to say that's how many that have ever been.
Correct. This is just currently what is available.
Currently in stock. Yes, exactly.
Right. Currently in stock, currently available. I think the question I had for you, Ian, because I think you do ePack way more than me, would be,
should say so.
I think so, 100%, is is there a way, because I know the biggest question that we always get, being this the ePack 101 type of episode, the biggest question we always get consistently is, I don't want to buy packs that would be only digital. I like to make sure what I'm buying is a physical product, or if I'm only buying digital, it's only digital, right? I think they'd like to know distinctly what is only digital and what is physical. Is there any way of telling that? Like if they're in the store and they're under the Marvel tab and they're looking at all these packs of cards, they see Marvel Annual, they see Avengers, they see Thor Ragnarok and all these cards. How do they know what would be digital and what would be physical?
Well, it's becoming more difficult, actually, but it is possible. The easiest way to do it is to check out the price point. Generally speaking, the higher the price, when you click on any of these products in the store, it says product, prices in USD, and it says click on, it's got an arrow. When you click on that, it opens up a number of things, depending on the products, but usually it's pack, box, and case. So you can buy products on here by the pack and by the box and by the case, the same as you would in a physical store. There are a number of things that have slightly different ways to buy them. Pack walls, for example. I'm not going to go into the detail of things like pack walls now. We've talked about it on a previous episode.
Yeah, well, that might have to be its own thing.
Yeah, exactly, because that's a different way of ePacks selling their product,
right.
of Upper Deck selling their products. The other way, of course, is to go onto that ePack symbol we referred, and it says ePack exclusive content. And usually in there, it will give an indication. So if I'm going to look at 2018 Marvel Annual, for example, it says ePack exclusive content. And whenever it says collect and combine, that usually means that the cards are initially digital. So I know that when you buy a pack, for example, of Marvel Annual 2018-19, I believe it's either 3 or 4 of the cards in that pack that you buy will be digital. There'll be a physical card in there, but the majority of them will be digital. So it says for this particular product, collect and combine 10 copies of any individual 2018-19 Marvel Annual digital base set or base set SP on Upper Deck to receive an ePack exclusive color wheel parallel of that card with the ability to have the physical card mailed to you. So whenever they use the phrasing with the ability to have the physical card mailed to you, that indicates that it's something that you need to do to actually get the physical card. And that's buy more copies of the digital version is usually what that means. That's not always the case.
No,
so,
because Flair has a similar thing as well, but those
we'll come on to Flair, but yes.
Yeah.
But Flair Ultra Spider-Man, for example, and Flair Ultra X-Men, as well as Marvel Masterpieces, all of the cards in the pack that you buy on ePacks will be physical cards that you could go on there, create an account, buy one pack of those products, and have all 5 or 6 of the cards that were in that pack physically mailed to you.
Yeah.
So it's not in every case are they physical, but for the majority of times, my goodness, as we talk, I've just had a trade offer from someone on ePacks. Marvelous timing. So that's actually a good segue for us to get onto the trading aspect, because they are called trading cards. So the first thing to say is you're probably thinking, okay, why is there a daily free ePack? For the majority of circumstances on ePacks, there needs to be something on both sides of a trade for the trade to actually work in the system. And daily free cards, usually because they're free. So, for example, Doctor Strange is a good example, which is the current Marvel one in the daily free card. That's a digital card. And because it's a free one, you need 20 copies of each if you're going to get anything physical, which some people go after, but it's just bonkers because you can only get 365 of them in a year, and it's a pretty decent set, and you've got to have 20 of the same card. So, but some people do go after them. But if you're trading with someone, you need something in your side and you need something on their side. If so, say for example, you go on there and you buy. Let's just keep it to physical product for the moment. You buy a box of Flair Ultra Spider-Man.
Right.
You can buy that and you can open each pack at a time. So once you've bought it, it will you'll get to the end of the purchase and it will give you a screen saying this is your confirmation number, and you can click here to go and open your pack. So if you do that, you'll get a little pack come on. You click on it, and it kind of, I'm not sure if it does. In my head, it makes a kind of a rapping noise, but I'm not sure that it does.
It might. I don't
Maybe
know.
that's just my head. And it kind of takes you through it, and you can open them, and then when you click on it, and you can turn each one over, and you can look through them. Now, if it's a regular card, it will just appear and it will be fine. If it's what's called a hit, so for example, if it was a sketch card or if it was a tough to get parallel that you might have to buy quite a lot to get, it will flash red around the card when you open it.
That's right.
Weirdly, there was something recently where it was flashing green, and I think that was a gimmick with that particular set, but I can't remember what that was.
Oh yeah, it was.
What was that?
What was the green for?
Without me
Was it
to
a
go on a
gimmick?
tangent. It was.
I don't remember.
It was something.
It was a gimmick. Oh,
was.
that's right. St. Patrick's Day.
Was
That's
it St.
it.
Patrick's Day? Wow.
The
Okay.
the 4-leaf clover type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
All right. Well, hats off to you, Upper Deck. That's quite cute.
It was cute. I thought so.
It was cute. It was cute.
Yeah.
So when you've bought that, say you've bought that. Let's stick on Flair Ultra Spider-Man for the moment.
Stay
You've got
there.
all those physical cards, and if you did buy a box and you ripped open all those packs, chances are you'd have probably had about 3 or 4 of those red flashes, we call them.
Yep.
Where it flashes, you'll have a load of base cards. Now, the difference will be at this point that if you bought that Flair Ultra Spider-Man box in a store, you'd have a pile of wrappers sat next to you, you'd have a cardboard box, and you'd have some cards there. And you'd be like, okay, what do I do now? Do I go back to the store and buy some more? And in the old days, you used to go around someone's house and you might compare what you bought, or, you might mail in stuff. Nowadays with the internet, we have groups and forums that you can post what you've got. But you've still got the whole, physically, I've got to mail this to that person, I've got to get it to that person. This is where ePack comes into its own, because you can, once you open that item, unless you choose to lock that card, and you will see when you look at each card, you'll see a little icon next to it where you can lock it. It's like a padlock. Unless you lock it, it will be visible on the trading marketplace. And this is where ePack works, because the trading marketplace will enable you to see any cards that are owned by any of the users on there that they haven't locked.
Yep.
So you could see a card there, and by scrolling to the card on the trading marketplace, you can see which users have a copy of that particular card. And then there's a little tick box there you can tick, and it will take you straight to the trading process. And you get 2 parts of that. You give and you receive.
Yep.
Which sounds like any marriage contract. But in this case, it's talking about... He's gone. It's talking about cards.
Cards.
It reminds me of William Shatner in Star Trek 2, where he goes, "Cards,
Gone.
You can tick it, and then you can say, okay, I receive. And normally, if you've gone to the trading marketplace and ticked that little icon next to the card, and you'll see the username of who's got it, it will automatically be in the you receive box. So you go to click you receive, you give, and it will take you into the functionality to look through your collection and tick, because it'll have a little tick box next to the cards, which one you want to offer to that person in exchange. You do that, you click submit, goes off to them, and they can look at that, and they will get a notification, as I just have. So I've just had an email, but it will also come up on the site. My goodness me, I've just been sent a vast trade. I've got no idea. That's quite a nice one, actually. I'm going to accept that really quickly before it goes away.
Do it.
But it says you've retrieved a trade offer from, and it'll be the username. And now, in brackets next to it on the email, it's got a trade ID, and there's a long code there.
Oh, interesting.
Which is interesting. I've only just I always knew they were there, but it's the first time I've kind of focused on them.
Right.
And on my email, it says, it has 2 columns. And I'm still sharing my screen, so you can probably see this. You've got you receive, and it has a little number next to it. That's how many cards I'm getting. And you give, and it's how many cards he or she wants from me. He, she, or whatever the identifiable things are. Did you know that there are, in terms of self-describing yourself, because it's no longer just he or she. You can have
Right, yeah,
gender
of
fluid
course.
and all this sort of stuff. Someone told me once, and I'm not sure if I believe this stat, there's now 267 different statuses of what you can choose to self-identify as.
Wow, that's fascinating.
I'm not
Oh,
sure if that
cool.
number's correct, but it is a lot.
I mean, I'm sure it's getting a lot. I mean, that's kind of nice. People don't have
Yeah.
to feel so, that's
Well,
nice.
yeah, if it walks like a duck, looks like a duck. Anyway, so so I'm going to go into trading. So
Yeah.
there's a link there that says I can go to trade, and it's got, when I click on trading, it comes up with the interesting thing about ePacks is that it's kind of each of these top things on ePacks: store, my collection, trading, my packs, achievements, which we'll come on to, news, and search. Each of these, you drill down. So when you click on trading, it comes with multiple panels: new trade, all trades, my locked items, because that's stuff I've locked away,
Right.
rate trades, because the trading is done on a scoring system. So if you're used to eBay and the feedback system, it's similar to that.
Yeah.
It's just that you don't get to leave a pithy comment saying, great, well packed, thank you. Then you've got a friends list. Then you've got two things there that are quite interesting, and I've only noticed just now looking at it that they're on this trading page. You've got a sports forum and an entertainment forum. So we'll come back to the forum aspect of it in a moment. So I'm going to go into all trades, and it says that I've got one pending and two received. So one pending is where I've sent a trade to someone. I'm waiting for them to respond. And received is where someone has sent me one. Now, the first thing about a trade is when you get a trade or you send a trade, there is a 24-hour window where it remains active for both parties to have a look at and say, do I want to do that? Do I not want to do that? There is also at the bottom of that, so if I click on this trade and go into it, you can see at the bottom there's a little box where you can chat about this trade, and as soon as you type something in there and press send, and it only allows you 300 characters per go, although you can do more than one. As soon as you do that, it resets that clock to 24 hours, which is interesting. So I have stubbornly before where I sent a trade to someone and they've not replied, but I kind of want to keep it live.
Yeah.
And I've said, just in case, because some people don't log in every day.
No, of course not.
So some people live on the site. But some people,
I don't know who those people are.
I don't know who those people are. It's way too unhealthy. But this trade in particular, I quite like. So at the top of each trade, it's got the user ID of who I've got. It's got some stars below them and a score in brackets, which is kind of like, it's out of 5 stars. It's got their name. It's got their avatar. And in this case, they haven't chosen a picture for their avatar.
Right.
But it's just got a little person's head and a trade ID. And it's got accept, counter, or decline. So those are my options. So in the same way as if someone offered any kind of exchange of goods, you can just say, yeah, I'm fine with that. Actually, I'd like to barter a little bit. I'd like to haggle, which is where you counter. Or you can just say, I'm not up for that, and decline. You do one of those 3 things. Now, this particular trade I quite like because this person is asking for 12 digital cards in this particular case, because they're obviously trying to get enough of those individual cards to combine
to get the physical.
Yeah, which is fine. And they're offering me 3 digital cards from Marvel Flair, which are a tougher get than the ones he's asking for from Marvel Annual. And he's offering me 3 physical ones, which I also need because I'll come on to the combining part in a moment. So I'm going to click accept on that. And when you go, it says accept offer. Are you sure you want to accept this trade? Once accepted, the trade cannot be undone. Note, due to licensor restrictions, Marvel trading cards cannot be shipped from the Upper Deck ePack website to any country outside the approved list. And there's a list of countries. And some of those are quite out there.
Cook Islands. I don't even know where that is.
I think it's a Pacific principality, kind of Australia, Indonesia, around that way.
Very cool.
But you've got, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Philippines. So pretty much everyone except for Europe.
Yeah, man. They do not like you guys.
They do not like the Europeans. It's actually Marvel because they've obviously sold the rights to make and distribute cards in Europe to another company. Because I don't think Upper Deck even have offices outside the UK. They're a US company.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, they don't have. I've never seen a European office. Now, I just clicked accept, and it often takes a moment once you click accept, because if you imagine the sheer volume of cards in this system means it's got to actually do something in the back end in the database. Say, okay, that card has moved from there to there, that card has moved from there to there, and it's got to do that moving.
Probably double checking its system too.
Exactly. And that code it gives you, that trade ID, is one of the things you can see that kind of tells you how the system works. I'm not going to go into the technical aspect of it, partly because a lot of it I assume, but partly because unless you kind of know what's in my head when I'm talking about it, or you work in a company that kind of builds website or manages inventory online, then it might not be of interest to you. But I find it fascinating. So when you click, when you've done that, it says accepted by Belay, which is my username, and it gives me a rate this trade, and it gives me an option to click anywhere from 1 to 5 stars. Now, this trade was absolutely fine for me. I rarely leave anything other than 5, to be fair.
Right.
You know,
I don't do it either.
why?
Someone gave me 4, and I'm still a little salty about it. But I don't care.
Know. It happens. It happens.
Fine.
So I'm going to rate that 5. You sure you want to rate this 5 stars? I do. So I've clicked it. There we go. So if I've just bought that Flair Ultra Spider-Man box and I've been on the site 5 minutes, I've just done my first trade. And that's how you go. Now, if you want other users to know what you want, they're not psychic.
Right.
And this is where the wish list function comes in. So you can go through that trading marketplace and you can filter it. So when you go into the trading marketplace, let's click on where it's not there. Let's click on this search trading marketplace, and it gives you a box with search. I don't want to click anything there. I just want to click search. So when I do that, it takes me into. It takes a moment because there's a lot on. There's an awful lot there. And what it does is it gives you options on the left, and those options are the same when you're looking at your collection, when you're looking at someone else's collection. And once you get your head around this navigation, it's the most, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it kind of displays stuff in a column format. You can choose to display it in a tile format if you want, and there are some benefits to that, but for the majority of the time, you do it like this. And you can see ownership. So it's only items I own, items I don't own, items on my wish list. And that's important. So when you're looking at the grid, it then has genre below that, basketball, Disney Entertainment, esports, etc., etc. You go below that, you've got, look at the number of hockey cards on there, by the way. Let's just look at the number. It's got insane. A number after it. It's 2.6 million. 2.6 million hockey cards. There's 2.9 million Marvel cards on there. Wow. Okay. Then it's got year, and so year I rarely use. Genre I use sometimes when I'm looking at people who obviously buy a lot of hockey cards, and I just want to see what Marvel cards they've got. But then clever. the next one is product.
That's the one I use a lot.
All the stuff. So if you look at that, that's quite a long list of stuff, and the minority of it is Marvel there.
Yeah.
So at this point, I would click on Marvel, and then that product window. You notice the screen refreshes, and then product only shows me Marvel genre stuff. So up here, you can see a grid, and it then below that you have insert, because a lot of these sets have multiple parts to them. So when I'm looking at, for example, let's click on, because we were talking about it, Flair Ultra Spider-Man. Let's click on that. And then we're going to click on insert. And you have, it lists them in alphabetical order, which is slightly annoying for some sets like this one, because I have to go 8 down to get like on the ground floor, which is the Flair Ultra Spider-Man base set.
Right.
Which actually, on the grid on the right, does show first. But in the navigation on the left, it doesn't.
Okay, yeah.
But you can see there, you've got card number 1, Spider-Man, Flair Ultra base set. There's 304 of them currently in the trading marketplace. And just before it said the card name, there's a number there, and that's 0. So that means I own none. I don't own any.
Right.
But you can see on card number 3 there, it's got a 2 there. I own 2 of that card. And there are 471 of them in the marketplace. Just past that, there is a heart. If I click that heart, it will go red, and I've added that card to my wish list. And that is how you add cards to your wish list. So if you've bought a box and you go into Trading Marketplace, and you can use this function, and you can see from looking at the first column is always the card number. The second column is how many you own. If that's a 0, then you just click on the heart on that same row to say, I need that card.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much for you as a being able to, you know, keep track of what you need, as other people being able to see what they might, you know, okay, I've got these cards, that guy wants them, and he's got these that I want. So that's how you go through that process.
I love that. Okay.
It's really clever. It's a really clever system. It does take a lot of time to find your navigation on this. So it's always worth having a play around with the marketplace, especially just getting used to how that left-hand side, that filtering works, because that filtering is the same throughout the trading, when you're managing your own collection, when you're looking at the marketplace, and when you're looking at someone else's collection. If you nail that, and you nail how to kind of work the different combinations of which things you've selected, it's really, really useful. Really useful. And very clever. And how they built it, I do not know. But
no, I don't know. I think they did a great job. I think it's really interesting.
They did a really great job. So the benefits of ePacks. So why would I buy that rather than going to my store? First of all, your store might not be able to stock it for the aforementioned reasons, that they might not be authorized to, they might not be approved to, or they might have sold out. Or you don't even have it.
Yeah, that's the big one, right? Because you can't find them. It's not like back in the day where you can go to a stand in front of a mall or go to your comic book store and they were there. I mean, it is a real hassle to find these things, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And on my nearest store, my nearest upper deck store that I could walk into with dollars in my pocket and pay for them, is 3,941 miles away from where I sit. So
see, that's crazy.
So I log into ePacks. I made that number up, by the way, but it's probably not far off. So you're there, and I'm in the UK, and technically speaking, I'm not supposed to. Well, I can buy these, I just can't have them shipped to me.
That's why we're best friends, though, man.
But yeah, exactly. So you're on there, and you can buy these. And what are the benefits? The benefits are that outside of that, some people move around a lot, so they don't want to have a lot of physical cards. So some people do choose to buy and house their collection on the ePack system.
And it's real.
And there,
people real do that. Yeah.
And there are people in the military, people who just travel around for work, be it not a military, people who live in really small apartments, people who live in areas where you might not run a risk having a physical collection. It might be prone to floods, it might be prone to earthquakes. I'm going a little bit dramatic, but especially in the US, you have a whole load of states where you've got wooden houses and tornadoes that rip through them every year.
Very true.
So, I personally wouldn't be very comfortable living in one of those houses, which is why I'm glad that in the UK we build most of them with bricks. So we also don't have tornadoes. They terrify me, but fascinating at the same time.
Yeah, I grew up with hurricanes, but tornadoes they throw me off. My wife grew up with tornadoes, and she gets terribly frightened. Like, we've had to hide in the bathroom a couple times in North Carolina just because there were like tornado warnings. I don't know. It's freaky. It's very, very freaky. Probably the one I hate the most.
Yeah.
All the weather, national disaster type of thing.
Yeah. I hide in the bathroom when I've annoyed the wife. Anyway.
I think, for me, ePacks, and closing out this conversation, all that kind of stuff, in terms of, like, if we want to, I don't know if we are or not.
Well, I was going to wrap up a couple of things, but you carry on.
No, I was just going to say that if there's a lot of people who always ask, well, why would I buy cards? I want to see them physically and all that stuff. You do see them physically. And you get to look at the front, the back, the condition, the serial number, and then you can have them shipped to you. And they're in very nice, taken care of. Yes, you have to pay to ship them to you and so forth. That does happen. For me, the convenience, the payment, the money is worth it because of the trading.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, that's really what it's about, because there's a lot of
package them up. Go to the post office.
Go to the post office. I mean, you're there taking care. And yes, you are paying for convenience, 100%.
Yes.
But what you are paying for as well is this community of people who are buying the product consistently. And that's a big deal. And I will say this as well. A lot of the buyers on ePack, I'm assuming, but from what I can see from what they're buying, I'm assuming this is correct. Most of them are doing this so they can scout for those bigger cards.
Yes.
So they have extra product.
Yes.
Or they stumble across those bigger cards and are looking to trade for particular things,
Yep.
and so forth. So you really are. It's like going to the source of people who are buying the product the most, right? It's like when you go to a comic book store or a sports card store, you miss these people, or you have to make your own community. Again, so many of these hobbies are so small and these groups are so small and the cards are so limited that having this global network system, which is what we do with the group and what ePack tends to do with itself as well, gives us a little bit of breathing room where you can actually find these cards and make your sets and make your collection complete.
Yeah. The someone on the group, a guy called Brett Weed, who I did message and ask him if he still had some questions, if he could fire them over so that we could kind of answer them. But he simply posted, "What's the difference between ePacks and buying cards from a shop? Just ease of trading." And a lot of people chipped in with advice. And it breaks down to the benefits being there's often a lot of cards not available in the physical release you get in shops that are exclusive to the ePack's release. So that's a big benefit. Upper Deck have done that very well. It used to be that you could Marvel Masterpiece is a prime example. You could buy the packs in stores and you could buy the packs on ePacks, and the cards were the same within the two. The base set was the same, the gold signature parallel was the same, the what if signature was the same. The interesting thing that Upper Deck are doing now, and this is solely to get them to sell more products, so it's a very, very clever move because they know the collector mentality extremely well, is evidenced by Marvel Flair and also evidenced by Marvel Annual. So Marvel Flair was released in the summer, and the base set, absolutely beautiful art on that base set. Cards 1 to 90 before you get into the Flairium, of which they step up in 10 tiers of 10, getting more rare. So there's actually 150 cards in the full set.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The base set 1 to 90, I held off buying Marvel Flair as a physical thing because I thought I'll wait to ePacks and I'll get it then. And when ePacks dropped it this week, and they drop things with very short notice, by the way. You'll get an email and it'll say, tomorrow Flair's going to be on there. And it's like, okay. We knew it was coming, but we don't know when.
Right.
So they dropped
really
it.
Yeah.
They dropped it, and it was released on ePacks. And everyone was like, hang on a minute. The base cards that you get in packs on Flair are not physical. They are digital. So I'm like, okay, I can't get base cards on there. And you need to get 5 of them to get a physical card. So I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks a little bit because, I wanted to get the base cards, and now I have to get 5 of them. And then when you look at it, it says, but when you combine the digital base cards, 1 to 90, you get a gold parallel. So, which is very similar to what they did with Marvel Annual, where you couldn't get the physical base cards from Marvel Annual on ePacks, but you had to combine 10 digital copies to get a color wheel variant of that same card, which you can only get on ePacks. So the gold parallel of Marvel Flair 2019, cards 1 through 90, which on the screen, and I'm sure in the flesh, because you've seen what they do with gold.
It looks good.
Especially with that art, looks absolutely incredible.
They really do.
You can buy 1,000 physical boxes of Marvel Flair in a store, and you will never get that gold parallel. But
100%.
you will have lots and lots of the base card. I can buy thousands and thousands of boxes on ePacks, and I'll never get that physical base card. But I will get the gold parallels if I combine 5 of each digital version. So it's really clever. So now collectors, to make their set, are having to go to both. They're having to go to the physical product. Well, you can't assume anymore that it's all going to be in the box, because when it goes to ePacks, you might think, oh, okay, I bought that and I collated my set. All of a sudden, I've got to buy through ePacks to be able to get that gold parallel if I want it.
Honestly, the more you're listening to this, listeners, is you're starting to understand that they're making more and more incentivized type of things online for a very particular reason. and they want collectors to kind of merge into this space.
Mhm.
And physical copies and cards are great, but when you get to the premium products, they're just not there in the box. They're, and then now there's even, which you guys might not know this, ladies and gentlemen, you might not know this. They also are commissioning artists to do a second batch of sketch cards. And
Yes.
some artists are even exclusive sketch card artists for the ePack release.
Right, this is gonna twist your noggin because I don't think you realise this.
Do it.
You know how beautiful the original commissioned painted art was across Marvel Flair 2019. So that 1-90
Love
and
that,
the Flairium, the extra
gorgeous.
60 cards. There are Flairium achievement cards that are original art that we've not seen before by the same artists. So when you get Flairium tier 1, which is cards 91 through 100, you get, I believe it's when you get those, and they're physical cards when you get them in the packs on ePacks. When you get all 10 of those, you can redeem them, and this is where you get extra stuff that's not available in the physical product as well. You can get, once you complete subsets, ePacks Upper Deck reward you by giving you something that you can only get if you complete that subset. And some of the subsets are really tough gets, the short print and the super short print ones.
We should make a gallery on the group so everyone can see the new art, because that'd be sick.
They are stunning. And the first one is Jubilee, and I think it's Peach Momoko.
She did a separate Jubilee?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My God.
This is art we've not seen before. So,
okay, excuse me.
You need to get onto that trading marketplace. In fact, we'll do it together. Actually,
let's do it together. All right.
Let me just clear the filters here on the trading marketplace, and let's feast our eyes. So this is kind of what I want to talk about. Flair is that it dropped this week, and people are going, with Marvel Annual, it was pretty easy because it's a low price point. It was pretty easy to get the 10 you needed to get the color wheel variant to the base.
True.
Not so with Flair. Everyone's going nuts for it, and I found that certain Flair cards are more difficult to get than others on the base. And it was interesting that the ones that people were going for and the ones that I was getting trade offers for, even though I hadn't got the 5 I needed myself for the gold parallel, were the popular characters.
Really?
So people are there. You can see character collectors just going after certain characters because they want them in the gold.
Yeah,
which makes perfect sense. So let's look at some of these Flairium achievement cards. If I can,
Flairium achievement cards. There's 6 of them.
Yeah, there are 6 of them. Here we go. Right now, these are lovely. These are rather lovely. So, first of all, the tier 6. We'll start with the tier 6 and we'll work down. Tier 6. There's only 5 of them in the marketplace because they're really tough to get.
Wow.
Tier 6 is a tough one to get. Look at that Iron Patriot, rather. And that is by Sean Cheeks Galloway.
Let me see the front again.
Yeah.
That looks good.
It's nice. It's kind of an animation style.
I like them. I like the animation style. I think they're fun.
It's really nice. I like that. So we'll put pictures of these on. Spider-Man 2099. This excites me.
I love Spider-Man 2099.
Yes,
damn.
So that's nice.
I want that.
That's kind of Spider-Verse style.
Yeah, I actually really dig that style. Damn.
Again, Sean Cheeks Galloway. So similar style to the other artist. But you see the numbering on the back. The previous one was 155. This is 154. So it's an extension of where you stop at Flairium Tier 6, which is card 150.
The more and more I look at the ePack stuff, the more and more I get excited about it.
Yeah, it is exciting. And this is
I'm just into it.
But they've done it really well here. Yeah, look at this Electro. So the tier, where are we? Have I skipped one?
I don't think so.
No, I haven't. That was tier 6. This is tier 4. This is what I'm working on now. I've got the first 3 myself. This is Electro. Look at that. That's stunning. Oh,
that's awesome.
Who's that by? That is Jim Pavelec or Pavelec. I'm not sure.
I love Jim Pavelec. He did that magic card.
Jim, we need you gracing the listeners' ears.
I can hit him up.
If anyone's got a connection, hit him up.
I'm going to hit him up. Why don't you hit him up?
Why not? Maybe not this second, because let's look at. Yeah, you'll forget. I know. Let's look at tier 2, Dr. Voodoo. This one's absolutely bonkers. Look at that.
It's a very cool Doctor
That's
Voodoo.
sinister. Something about that. Is that Dave? Is that Dave?
I think that's Bill.
No, it's Jonathan Wayshak.
Wow,
Interesting.
Wayshak.
You know,
Good job,
that kind of reminds me of Dave a little bit.
It does remind me of Dave. Like the hand,
It's
the
not
proportions.
fisheye at all, but it's something to do with the way that the eye
Yeah.
travels down.
Does look like Dave.
That's nice.
Wayshak, great job.
Brace yourself for the Jubilee, which is Peach Momoko, a friend of the show. We've had an intro. Look at that.
So I had a chance to buy that original painting.
Oh wow, really?
I couldn't pull it. I didn't have the cash, but I think she did beautiful. That's one of my favorite Jubilees I've ever seen.
I envision Jubilee lighting up the painting with her radiance.
I love Peach. Oh my God.
So, yeah, it's lovely.
I'm such a big fan of hers.
So
I got to get one of those.
Here's the thing: you've got to buy and/or have cards on there to trade for a lot of stuff to get these achievements, or you could just wait and just buy them outright when they inevitably get moved over to ComC for people to sell. So you could probably go and buy each of the achievements now on ComC. The prices on there will probably reflect what people have waded in to spend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
that stuff changes.
Exactly. This is interesting. There's only 5 here. The tier 6 one isn't visible. No one's got it. Or they've taken it away and locked it. There's only the first 5. So that I'm Patriot was tier 5. And there's only 5 of them.
That is so cool.
So yeah, tier 6 isn't showing.
Wow.
That's how tough it is to get the tier 6 set on ePack. And that kind of is the rub. So all of these cards I'm looking at are physical. You know, I own those 3, as you can see by the number 1 in that column there. So if I go it doesn't let me do it here because I'm not in my collection. But if I went into my collection, I could then transfer that out to be shipped to me. I could have it shipped to you tomorrow if I wanted to. I could have it with you this time next week, for example.
Wow.
So do you want one of those Jubilee cards?
If you get an extra.
Well, yeah, I probably will do because I think I've got some spares of the Flareum Tier 1 is a relatively easy get.
I mean, yeah, if you don't mind, let me know.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. If you want it, if you dig in the artwork and you want a copy of it, then yeah.
I'd like a copy of it because right now I think the flares that I did keep, I kept the anti-venom because I love that anti-venom, and I kept a magic, and I really wanted that Jubilee. So yeah,
well, let me see if I can hook you up with the gold parallel of those as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You'll want that.
I do.
You'll want that. Trust me, from what I can see, and
they look
I've not
good.
seen the cards, but if you look at the gold border, let's quickly look at them now.
I saw a picture of it.
We'll put these on the tasting notes, folks. So
so you guys will be able to see it.
You will be able to see these. But the gold parallels, these are wow. That number's gone up. People are redeeming. Just waiting for it to filter. So which one was it? Anti-venom.
Anti-venom.
That gold is going to look beautiful.
Fudge. Yeah, that card I really want. I really want that card. Yeah, I love that. I love this. I wanted to get the original artwork, but I wasn't able to contact the artist.
What artwork is that? Flash. Who is that?
It's I found out and I'm blanking.
Interestingly, it doesn't say the artist's name on the back of these.
So go to the front.
Is that Ian?
No. How did I find out? I think on the gold ones it doesn't tell you.
Well, it does actually. It has on the checklist that we spoke about on the Marvel Flair preview episode back in the summer. It will have that there. So, and what was the other one that you were after? Anti-venom and who?
Magic was really cool too.
Magic, yeah. Now I know Stephen Bagley, Bag of Fleas.
I'm sure Bagley would
has
lose his
been
mind
after this. Hang on a minute. Was she? No, she was a tier. So yeah, it's only 1 to 90.
Wow.
That has the gold parallel.
Oh, that's awesome.
Done gold parallels.
It's just the one.
Yeah. But some of these, look at the. I'm just going to scroll up here. The one that I find people going.
Oh, Squirrel Girl. I'll take Squirrel Girl too. Ah, shoot, Megan.
Look at the Phoenix. I
love Megan's work. I'm such a huge fan of hers.
Just lovely. So, anyway, ePacks, folks. It's great. It's there. We did have one fella on the group. I'm not going to go into the details of it. We did have one fellow on the group who said simply, why are ePacks part of this page? They're pictures of cards, not cards. Well, I'm just going to directly answer that without naming you, because I think we made our feelings known on the group in a polite way. But it does annoy me because that comment doesn't kind of serve anything. It is a genuine question, but you could argue you're on the internet. Of course, anything you see on the internet is going to be pictures of cards. So I'm just going to kind of ask that individual just to think about that for a little bit, and wind your neck in a bit, because everyone very politely tried to explain
what
how
it was.
ePack works. Because a large portion of them are real physical cards is the first comment.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling, looking at this, that the fellow has now left the group.
Good.
Yeah,
I mean,
looks like he's left the group. So, but he replied, "I still think it's lame." And I'm a fan of opening physical packs. It's like, well, fine, no one's stopping you doing that. You can buy physical packs. ePacks isn't stopping you doing that. ePacks are definitely moving people onto this platform because I imagine there are lower production and physical distribution costs for them. They don't have to make the boxes. They don't have to make the wrappers.
I think what people
it is
misunderstand.
going to have a lower cost for them as a bit. They are a business. They are a company.
I think people don't take sometimes into consideration locations of where other people are. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who collect these things. Like in North Carolina, I don't know anybody. The only other traders and
you know your
collections.
Wife, but I mean,
yeah, I know, well, you know what I mean. Like, I don't know any card collectors.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody. So it seems kind of strange, and it seems very trollish.
It's just one of the responses. Trading is definitely the easiest way for sure. I don't trade, so it means nada to me. So
Thank you.
Now you're being a bit of a now you're being a cock. Anyway, so he, I believe, has gone from the group,
whatever.
I get that there's confusion, but the thing that I love, and this is kind of where we can talk about ePacks a lot more, and we will talk about ePacks a lot more.
Yeah, we'll probably
there could be an ePacks 101 part 2. In fact, there will be, because there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot to talk about.
We've just touched the basic functionality, which for regular listeners they might be a bit. We know all this, but some people might not. And Joe Driscoll, good evening, Joe. If you're listening, good evening,
Joe.
On the Marvel Flair thing, he commented, this did make me laugh.
I love that.
We'll come back to that. I'm ignorant to all this, so bear with me. What is the attraction of a digital trading card? I don't get it. And they're very epitome of someone actually listening to the feedback they were getting. This is someone conducting themselves with grace in the digital space, as you would expect someone of Joe's caliber and education to do. But everyone gave him some feedback. He said, still seems weird to me as an old-time card collector. And, that's exactly it. At the end of the day, if it's not for you, it's not for you. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to do it that way. However, there are cards that you will not get any other way. So if you want them, then you'll have to resort to eBay, which is also a digital platform, or you'll have to resort to ComC, or maybe someone might have had them shipped to them and be selling them in your local space. So, those cards that come from ePacks that are only physically made, but distributed digitally via ePacks, you'll only get them.
Yeah. And I think the other point to make, and the last final point to make probably, would be to say, you can't change the culture, or how things are right now. People don't buy Marvel cards, and they don't exist in every store. So there's no other way to get this product out there other than through the digital medium, especially at the premium price that it's at.
Yeah,
it's just not in our culture. We're gone. We passed that whole hallmark of collecting Marvel cards.
Yeah,
it's not in the culture right now, and card collecting was a physical medium, but there's a very digital medium now.
Yeah.
You have your cards on your phone, your databases. You can have apps where you can load your cards up and see what you got, all this kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
It's playing with the times, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a whole generation that don't own
that would never
pop
have
culture that they consume in a physical format.
No, not at all.
There are people that I know at work. I asked them a question. And these guys in their 20s, early 30s, and they're like, do you have I'll lend you the CD. It's like, I haven't got a CD player.
Yeah, 100%.
So, this is, it is different. Different strokes, different folks. One of the fellas in the group is new to the group actually, but I've noticed his name on ePacks an awful lot, and he's quite prolific is the word.
Yeah.
Michael Gary, EHN, Ain, I think that's how you pronounce it. Ain. Good evening, Gary. I'm really glad that you've joined our group.
Gary.
I know he's very active on ePacks, and we've traded, and he seems like a nice fella, because with ePacks, unless you trade with someone a lot and maybe do a bit of comment back and forth, and you can message other users as well, it's difficult to know. You do get to feel for the players and people you might trade with.
Yeah.
But Gary does say the attraction for me is I don't have piles of new cards all over one of my desks. I hate dupes too. So trading them off is excellent in my eyes, and that's it. So I think next time we do one of these, and that kind of sums it up.
It really does.
Although Joe replied to Gary, but do they make a cool fluttering sound when you stick them in the spokes of your bike?
I
thought that was wonderful. So, so last word on that, Joe. I think what we'll do next time for ePacks 101 Part 2. Or is it 102 or 201? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's it work after it goes 101?
101, 1 or 2.
Does it go 102?
Part 1,
or is
part 2?
Part 2?
I don't know. Sometimes, some people. I mean, sections and stuff like that.
Episode 9. Episode 9. Oh, by the way, while we're talking about episode 9, I absolutely loved doing that Star Wars crawl for our first crossover episode.
So much fun.
Podcast. It took me like a morning to do it, and I found an app that did it. But that was fun.
It was really fun.
Every episode, but for the fact we're not a Star Wars podcast, so I'm not going to. But next time, I think we'll talk about trading etiquette.
Yes.
There's a lot to talk about in terms of ePacks on trading etiquette.
Yeah.
And the types of people that are on there, and the people that buy stuff.
Strategies to help,
but also there was something. There's a slightly unappealing side to the nature of some of the collecting on there. Not meaning to put anyone off, but it's something that I only spot from spending time on there and seeing the way that people talk about sketch card artists on some of the forums there, which is a little bit of a negative for me personally. Some people it might just be, it is what it is. They're just saying it how it is. But I'm not going to talk about that now. We'll talk about Flair probably more, because there's some other interesting stuff going on with Flair since they've released it. But we're not going to do that this episode, because I think we're probably going to get close to the bit that you wanted to talk about. But also, Flair is a huge set and needs more than just 5 minutes to talk about. I think ePacks has genuinely given it a new lease of life, because I don't feel that it was well received from collectors upon release. And it is still a bit of a Frankenstein set, in that I don't think it hangs together very well. There's a lot of concepts and ideas in there that I don't think necessarily complement each other. The interesting thing about ePacks, as we talked about with Greg and as we talked about before, is that Flair, more than any other set, is very much a choose-your-own-adventure set.
100%.
Just pick the bits that appeal to you. However, it is original art. So if you do nothing else, go for the base and the Flairium, because the artwork is absolutely top notch.
It's 100% worth it,
and worthy of any of the Flair Ultra brand names. So that's my last word on that for this week. Do you want to dive into what you want to tell me? Because I'm still giddy as a kipper about what it's going to be.
So I think I just found out that it's actually going to get here in 2 days from the UK.
Ooh.
And I think maybe I can do an unboxing with you on the phone, which would be more fun, and hold off because I want to get a bunch of pictures for you and stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll hold off. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. If it's not an episode, then it will definitely be a video maybe that you can pop on the podcast page.
Like a live event.
Yeah.
And we can just 15, 30 minutes and just put it out there.
We can stick it up. Yeah, we'll stick it up on the podcast page. So for those of you who don't know by now, and if this is your first episode, welcome. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram at the MCC Pod. So if you go to facebook.com and type in at the MCC Pod, you'll find us, and Twitter and Instagram. I'm sure you can find your way around. We post content up there as often as time allows, because we have lives and jobs and things like that, and this is a hobby. We have an email address, themccpod@gmail.com. You can also go to anchor.fm/messages, which is our distribution hub for the podcast that pushes it out to iTunes and Google Podcasts and Spotify and all those marvelous places. You can leave us a voicemail, which is quite exciting, and we put them in the show, and we'll talk about stuff. What I have done, there's a guy who was really new to collecting a few weeks back, and I had a little back and forth with him on Messenger on Facebook, and I said, well, seeing as you're new to collecting, you're asking all these questions in the group, maybe just come on the podcast and we'll just do it. It might be interesting listeners for people.
I love that.
He's an absolute beginner. And he's completely up for it. And I haven't heard from him for 2 weeks, so maybe he's just decided to go and collect Pokemon instead. But who knows? Who knows? Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And until next time,
enjoy collecting, everybody.
Enjoy collecting. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. You can subscribe via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. Leave us a message via that link with questions, comments, or just to say hi, and we may even play on the show. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Our podcast is at the MCC Pod on Facebook and Twitter, and you can find links on our Facebook page to the two groups MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. On Instagram, find us at MMCollectors and at SketchCardHive. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.